Ray-Ban Meta Smart Glasses. Now, if you're into this, you're looking to purchase them or you have them or just got them, this could be very valuable to you as it's my perspective on how the glasses are working for me. So again, we're going to go over the pros and cons. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So we'll start off with a pro. Now, the fact is that these glasses have multiple functions. I could take calls with them. They've got headphones. They've got a mic. Obviously, utilizing them for music. Podcasting is one thing that I use them heavily for. But the sound quality when you're talking on the phone with someone, I've had feedback that it's crystal clear. They also may have a noise canceling for the person that you're talking to, because I've been in medium environments, medium sound environments, and they've been able to hear perfectly. So I don't feel that that's a big issue. But I mean, the multiple function aspect, in addition to the AI meta, that you can leverage this to ask questions has been valuable. I'm still diving into that, but it's definitely a pro that you can use these in addition to having your phone with you at all times. So can it be a replacement for your phone? Maybe it could be for you, but for me, it's definitely been valuable, and I have found myself leaving my phone to the side. So multiple functions pro. Now a con. Now the chat features, or when you're chatting in public and utilizing the glasses, since these things aren't mainstream yet, if you're walking around talking to somebody, people may think that you're talking to them. What I tend to do is I tend to have my phone, if I'm on a call here, I'll have it in my hand so it doesn't get too awkward. But it can be if you're sitting there in a, in a spot in a public area and you have uh, a call come in, or if you're asking or having a conversation with Meta, it can be a little bit awkward. I do list that as a con. So just keep that in mind. It's not mainstream yet, so it's going to take a little bit of getting used to for the general public. Now, a pro, durability and design. I mean, these things are great. They've got a good base to them. They're solid construction or solid design. I do like the matte black version. These are the transition lenses. I'll get into transition lenses here in a second, but they're solid. You pull them out, you don't feel like they're going to break on you. But I do take extra care either way because of the price. But durability and design is definitely something that I would market as. I don't normally wear glasses. These aren't prescription, so I'm not big into accessories, but I've been wearing these quite often and pretty frequently, and I love them because of their design, aesthetics, as well as durability. Now moving on to a con, transition lenses. Okay, listen, I got the transition lenses because as a content creator and capturing video, this is something that's important to me to be able to have them while outside as well as inside, and plus having a nice set of sunglasses was something I was leaning into. Now the con for me, why I list this as a con, is I don't like the halfway tint. Now, if I'm wearing these outside and I go inside, now I'm a guy that's wearing sunglasses indoors. That's not my style. That's not my vibe. So that's something that has really had me consider whether or not I'm going to keep these or just go with the clear. I use this mainly inside, so the clear lenses are probably best for me. But listen, when they turn into sunglasses, that's also a benefit. But that halfway point has been an issue for me. Also, I'll list this as a con too. The matte black with the sunglasses, I don't think looks as good as if it was the gloss frame with the sunglasses, but that's just personal preference. But for me, the transition lenses is a con. On to a next pro here. The quick start record. Listen, as a content creator, this has by far been the biggest thing that has made me use these glasses, is just the simple quick press and record. It's been extremely valuable. One thing I did, I went into the settings because I'm not going to be using these for photos really. Maybe occasionally. It's mainly for capturing video. Is in the settings, you can switch it to where it's just one single press here, which starts the recording, and then just a simple click to press off. Now, if the factory settings are set to where you have to long press this for 2 seconds to start the video recording, there is the ability to switch that. I highly recommend that for content creators. So give that a shot. Moving on to con, file organization. What I have found that when going through and taking multiple videos is that the files come in out of order. Now, if you have a hack or if you learn how to have them come in sequential order, for me, uploading these, getting them into my editing platform, or even just trying to sift through, we're usually used to chronological file formatting or file uploads. That is not the case here. You have to go through, reorganize it however you feel is best. But that has slowed down my process when it comes to organizing files and getting things ready and uploaded quickly. So highly recommend you either finding a hack for that. I haven't found it yet, but if you do, leave it in the comments for the community below. Moving on to a pro, ease of file transfer. Now, this to me has made at least getting the files into my editing platform very seamless, very easy. I use a MacBook Pro or an iMac. Using the AirDrop feature has been super critical here. So we take the video, we upload it to the MetaView app. We transfer that, which is pretty seamless, and you can do that automatically. To get into your camera roll, I select the files, I airdrop them to my computer immediately. I'm able to drag them into my hard drive, which then obviously makes them accessible to get into the editing platform. But that file transfer is absolutely a seamless transition for me and for my process. It's amazing. So a pro for the ease of file transfer if you're using Mac. Sorry, I can't speak to any other operations there. Moving on to a con here. Now, I've talked about this before, the portrait video format and the vertical video format. Listen, it's good for the intended purposes of getting things up. You can take that video and photo if you're connected to the cloud to be able to put that up and get it up and on your social media platforms quickly. For me, that's not that big of a deal. I've had to have a video or a workaround in editing and create specific frames in order to make sure that it aligns with landscape videos. If I'm uploading to YouTube here, you'll notice that the file format is vertical in relation to a typical landscape. But the fact that you can get it in, create something like that, it creates a little bit of extra work, and it kind of delays the process a bit. It does work, but for me, it's definitely a con, and definitely worth noting if you're going to be using it for content creation. Now, moving on to a pro. The image quality and stabilization. Image quality is good. There's a caveat behind that. I'll get to that here in a second. The image quality at 1080p, listen, it's good. It serves its purpose. You can definitely use it for behind the scenes stuff, vlogging. I've explored that as just kind of going over day to day. But stabilization is also pretty good. I have a video out there that showcases doing snow tubing and some other activities that the stabilization is good. I'll talk about shake here in a second because shake is a con. We'll get to that soon, but it's definitely noticeable and worth talking about. But image quality for the purposes, as long as you're not looking to make movies with it and you're just capturing real life moments or strategic moments that you're going to be using for content creation, you can get by with the image quality. I think nowadays people aren't really expecting highly produced imagery, just the way that things are going with the different social platforms. But it's definitely worth noting that it's good. Stabilization is good for what it is. But GoPro and your action cams are probably going to be a little bit better, especially because they have the landscape format. Moving on to con. Now you're going to see many different things about battery life on these things. For me, I listed it as a con, and you have to be honest with what you're going to be expecting from things like this. For glasses, right? The battery life isn't going to be perfect. But I use it in cold weather, especially since I just got these about 3 weeks ago. I use them outdoors. It's cold here in Wisconsin. It's winter. I use it at the hockey rink, catching clips while I'm coaching. And cold weather will diminish the battery. Now, if you have any experience with batteries, that's what happens. But your battery life, don't get too high up on that. If you don't use the video features and the capture features, you could probably get 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours if you're not using it, with an occasional question for Meta or calls and music and things like that. I haven't tested it to that extent, but the battery life for me is definitely a con. Keep that in mind. I will make a last comment on the battery life. If you're recording, I have been prompted that at 20%, that it's saying that it needs to recharge before it can capture video. This has happened intermittently. I've been able to capture video at 15, 10%, but I have been caught at 20%, which gives you 80% of total battery life, which isn't a lot. Total length that I've had it for heavy, heavy, heavy usage is probably about 40 minutes, and that's turning the video on, capturing content, turning it off, and then maybe a couple minutes later doing the same thing. So it is limited. You have to keep that in mind, especially if you're creating content and on the go. Pro, the USB-C charging case. This has been very helpful. If you get low on battery, the case here is great. I know I froze up here in a second. Hopefully it kicks back on, but the case itself is a awesome tool to have to recharge. Doesn't take very long. If you recharge it in the USB-C port here, that is going to help speed up the process. Charges quickly, but if you're out there creating content and you're bogged down by waiting to recharge, listen, it's good. It's not going to take forever, but you have to plan for that, and that may delay what you're trying to do. Okay, so USB-C charging case, I list that as a pro because it's just like your AirPods. If you have AirPods, you can charge in the case. That's a great opportunity to do that. All right, moving on to a con. Now, Bluetooth connectivity. Bluetooth connectivity here, I've run into a handful of times where I had to repair the glasses. I've had to restart my phone, which was a solution I'll talk about here in a second. But sometimes you have to repair, sometimes it's not connecting. So it could either be a phone issue, it could be the connectivity with the glasses or the app. But I've restarted my phone. I was at the gym, and everybody's using Bluetooth connectivity in there. That could be. I'm not a Bluetooth expert here, but I found that may have messed with the Bluetooth connection. I had to restart my phone. That was a solve. I've been caught where just randomly it wouldn't connect. It could maybe be due to battery life. Not quite sure on that, but you have to go through the settings. It's pretty self-intuitive, just like when you first get the glasses to repair that. The app is pretty good at walking you through the steps, but that is for me listed as a con, as sometimes you're going to run into issues with Bluetooth connectivity. Pro, 32 gigabyte storage inside the glasses. Listen, for having frames like these and having 32 gigabytes of storage, I have gone out and heavy recorded and captured content for an hour. And I've been able to use maybe 2 gigabytes. I think yesterday it was like 2.2 gigs. But the fact is with these glasses to be able to capture that, it does help the fact that it's 1080p. It's not eating up a lot of storage, but you can capture a ton of stuff. I still have stuff on here. I haven't cleaned it out, but I do recommend going in to your app, dumping some old footage that obviously is on there, just to make sure that you're not flirting with that level or that 32 gigs storage limit. But congratulations to you if you're going to be hitting 32 gigs. But I think you need to at least prioritize going in there a couple weeks and dumping stuff that you're no longer needing. All right, con. This has to do with AI, for Meta AI here. Outdated Meta news. Now, I like to ask it, what's the current news? I've gotten responses that have been, weeks old news, right? So you have to ask questions. You have to ask it to visit the web and get current news. But that to me is kind of a hassle. I think this will get better as the language model improves and Meta improves. But ChatGPT by far, from an AI perspective, is definitely much better. So pro here, sound quality. Sound quality here, listen, from these things, sound quality is good. It was probably better than expected from a phone call standpoint. I talked about the phone calls previous in this live stream here, but the sound quality is good for calls. If you're in a moderate to low ambient noise level location, it gets by. I do have to tell you that if you have the volume turned up all the way and you're in a quiet setting, someone next to you could probably hear that. It's not like having earbuds in, but the speakers are located just underneath or just above your ear, so that provides the sound ability for people to hear. So just keep that in mind if you're having private conversations. But it's a clear sound when you're having calls. Recipients on the other side said it's crystal clear, which is great. I use these things for podcasts. I use it for listening to music, calming noise, rain sounds, things like that, to kind of drown out some stuff. But you don't have the noise canceling. Just be aware of that from a sound perspective, that that you're not going to get total drown out of the area around you. Now, the mic is great if you're having a conversation in low level environments. You'll be able to hear the recipient. You'll be able to hear yourself quickly. So if you're using it for purposes of demonstrating what you're working on, or if you're working on something with your hands, or you're doing something on the laptop looking, then that's something that it's very clear. Now, depending on how far the person is away from you, you're still able to hear it. You may be able to fix that in editing, kind of bump up their levels a little bit, but keep that in mind. In loud environments, that may not be the best. But I'm going to be doing a video with actual examples other than this live stream. So if you're interested in that, make sure that you subscribe for that update. I'm working on that video right now, showing examples of what that looks like from a dialogue standpoint with someone that you're talking to, but super powerful for business related usage of these glasses. Moving on to another con, image colors. When if you're used to using your phone for capturing video in photos, then you're going to be okay with this. If you're a content creator that is looking at colors and editing colors, the color tends to be a little oversaturated. The exposure adjusts. It's not always perfect. It does work for moving from a dark into a light, or I'm sorry, from a light into a dark and dark into a light environment. It does make the adjustment. So that works really well, in my opinion. But if you're looking for it for purposes of cinematic coloring and color grading, it's going to take some work. You can try to mess with the oversaturation and the vibrance and the exposure, but again, that just adds to more editing that you'll have to do, especially if you're flip flopping between camera footage as well as glass footage. So colors, image colors for me is a con. Moving on to a pro, discrete content capture. Now, obviously, it has the LED light. If you're familiar, that when you click and start recording, this light will turn on as you're using it, so it lets people know that you're recording. But I've used this, and people really haven't associated this with recording. These aren't mainstream yet, so you can still have discrete filming capabilities. And I like these because you could turn this on even if someone knows that you're recording. It's it's not like having a phone in someone's face and you're recording, or a camera. So it makes it for more authentic type of capture, which I think is great. So keeping that in mind, discrete content capture is great, especially if you're in a crowd. Many people aren't going to be looking at you. People don't make eye contact with people very regularly. So it gives you an opportunity to capture real life moments, real time moments, which is actually pretty cool. The next thing, a con, okay? Um, Filming perspective and angles. Huge point, especially for content creators. You need to be aware of this. Now, the glasses pick up everything probably maybe from 2 feet and further, but anything that you're working in close, you're probably not going to get the whole picture. I've had my wife use these doing cooking demos, and sometimes the image is cut off. So you have to adjust. You have to put your head down. You have to angle down. But even so, I would highly encourage you. There's a learning curve to this, but you have to be able to hold the image or the product or any type of thing in front of you, that you can make sure that it gets in the field of view. This is going to be, and I know I froze here, apologies, but it's going to take some time to get used to. You're going to have to record footage to see what it looks like and learn how to make your adjustments, and just be aware of that if you're going to be using it for hands-on, if you're looking to, showcase anything with your hands. So the angles also, I'll make a mention, because of the vertical and portrait format, you're not going to get anything obviously off to the side. So you're going to have to make sure that you're aware of the angles of what you're looking at, because it's going to capture everything that's in front of you. Anything off to the periphery, you may lose. I use this for hockey, just filming behind a net, and I missed some content there that was critical, and I was kind of bummed about that. So filming perspectives. Lastly, to close things out here, pro, are they worth it? Are these glasses worth it? I say they deliver a lot of value for the price. I got these because of the transition lenses out the door with tax for $400. Now you can get them without the transition. I think it's about 325 US. But for what all this offers, for the functional capabilities of headphones, ability to use it for calls, ability to use it for video and photo, as well as having the Meta Assistant in your ear, I think it's a no-brainer. If you're a content creator and you want to be able to capture unique perspectives, I definitely say that these could be for you. But keep in mind the video format. Keep in mind the perspective and angles. Keep in mind the colors. If colors are important to you, then I would definitely think about this and do some more research. This is great. You don't have to pull out your phone. This can be a substitute for your phone if you're tired of holding that in your hands. But all in all, I think these are a great value. And if you're into it, jump in. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments. All of this stuff helps with the community. If you're interested in more updates on these glasses, make sure that you subscribe. I do also do some creative marketing content here, but I want to do a lot more with these glasses because I use these every day. And this is something that I want to be able to share with you. I'm just trying to find the niche. So subscribe, comment, like if you can share it. I'm trying to get this information out to as many people that are considering the glasses and considering AI. Guys, once again, appreciate your time, and we'll see you on the next video. And